Hello and welcome to New Frontiers on CCTV International. I'm Ji Xiaojun in Beijing, and today we reach the concluding part of our journey of exploration into one of China's oldest and most popular performing arts, Kunqu opera. Following the founding of New China, the policy of cultural reawakening offered Kunqu opera the chance to emerge from a long period of neglect. New Kunqu opera troupes were set up across the country. Miraculously, despite only recently being reborn, Kunqu opera was even able to survive the harsh political climate during the Cultural Revolution.
In November 1981, the ancient city of Suzhou greeted a group of overseas Chinese who had returned to China to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the founding of the Suzhou Kunqu workshop. All of the 16 performing artists, by that time advanced in age, were from the Chuan generation. Repressed during the 10 years of the Cultural Revolution, Kunqu was struggling its way back to life.
成立四川之后，就很快的，像他上海来说，基本都是在80年代初，就那个昆剧团都恢复了，把许多已经改行了的那许多演员又招回来。
But an old question remained: just what should Kunqu be aiming at? At a Kunqu festival held by the provinces of Jiangsu and Zhejiang and the city of Shanghai, the State Ministry of Culture suggested preservation, continuation, innovation and development. At the festival, two Kunqu troupes, one from Jiangsu and the other from Shanghai, staged the same drama, the Peony Pavilion. The two renditions of the classic work were very different, making them rival productions. The production of the Peony Pavilion presented by the Jiangsu troupe was highly traditional, made particularly impressive by Zhang Jiqiang's simple but elegant performance. It won a warm response from audiences. The Shanghai version, on the other hand, was imaginative and innovative. As the story unfolded, the backdrops behind Hua Wenyi, playing the lead female role Lady Du, constantly changed, from her study to her boudoir, her garden and a Taoist temple, and there were also many changes in the stage lighting. Even more unexpectedly, however, in the Shanghai version, a number of the melodies had been altered, with some of the more challenging lyrics, incomprehensible to some, cut completely. These changes naturally aroused considerable debate among experts, and the question of how to approach the preservation of Kunqu became a hot topic. In the end, both troupes received awards. The Jiangsu troupe received a Kunqu Continuity Prize, while the Shanghai troupe won the Innovation Award. But the arguments didn't stop, and they continue today. Each of the two troupes had gone to considerable effort to attract audiences back to Kunqu theatre. But the question remained whether, after so many years in oblivion, Kunqu would be able to arouse again the feelings it had in the past. As China's economy developed at a fast pace in the 1980s, the decade became one of changes. Pop music was gaining popularity, and so were other types of Western culture in the form of books and movies. People were showing great enthusiasm for following the new trends, and traditional opera forms were being cold-shouldered. To any performing artist at the time, whether established or new, one fact was beyond dispute. Kunqu was losing audiences. Wang Fang, vice chairman of the Suzhou Kunqu troupe, still remembers the dilemma Kunqu faced at that time. Kunqu was only allowed to be staged in a small number of small theatres, and so many performers had no choice but to look elsewhere for work. Wang Fang, an actress who specialized in young female roles, couldn't even find an actor to perform opposite her.
80年代中后期到90年代的中期的那一阶段，戏曲特别不景气。 那就这一辈的人呢，走了很多，就都转业了，就改行了，就戏曲没人看嘛。
看我们同学60个学员都改行了，留下的大概是10几个，啊，有出国的，有女孩子嫁到国外去的，有下海经商的，还有更多的拍影视的。
And it was not only these artists who were having to face this situation. Artists of the older generation were equally affected. When one of the country's 7 major Kunqu troupes, the Yongjia Kunqu troupe in Wenzhou, disbanded in 1984, a letter was mailed from Shanghai to Zhongnanhai, where the central government was in residence. The letter was from established Kunqu artist Yu Jianfei, and it would change the overall situation for Kunqu.
于老师政协委员，又是昆剧界的最有代表性的人物了。我是请他给中央写信，中央会重视的。
In his letter, Yu Jianfei detailed all the worries and difficulties Kunqu was facing and appealed to the central government to do something to preserve the opera form. The letter stated that every person in the Kunqu profession wanted to say that Kunqu should not be left to drown in the prevailing commercial tide, that the difficulties overwhelming Kunqu were just temporary, and that one day its significance would be fully appreciated by society.
他22号接着信，24号就回信了，成立了文化部昆曲指导委员会。在那个情况之下，才决定了全国6个昆曲院团属于这个国家支持的范围。
After Yu Jianfei's letter, a series of policies and measures were adopted. The Ministry of Culture sponsored Kunqu festivals to salvage a number of dramas that were on the verge of extinction, while efforts were also made by local troupes to attract audiences back to the theatre. But whether these efforts would be enough to change the fate of Kunqu and its performing artists remained unclear.
China's opening up since the end of the 1970s has provided Kunqu opera troupes with greater opportunities to perform outside China. The good reception Kunqu has received overseas has given the performers considerable encouragement.
In the 1980s and 90s, local troops were given opportunities to perform abroad as representatives of traditional Chinese culture. They also performed in Hong Kong and Taiwan, leaving local audiences enraptured. The sensation aroused by the performances in Taiwan remains fresh in the memory of Zhang Jiqian. The warm reception was unforgettable.
观众呢对你非常那个痴迷，就是讲很多年轻的、年纪大的票友也有，这些大学生，各个大学的大学生，所以在台湾演戏了，自己心里真是很开心啊，觉得这才是演员。
台湾一些教授，他们很得意，他们告诉我说，最好的昆曲演出在大陆，最好的昆曲观众在台湾。
The warm reception accorded the Kunqu troops from the mainland was not only seen in Taiwan, but also in Macau and Hong Kong. It seemed that all Chinese in those centres recognised that Kunqu was the root and blood of Chinese civilization, something that conveyed the values of Chinese and their state of mind. Meanwhile, with its great artistic significance and the superb skills required to perform it, Kunqu was impressing Western audiences as well.
昆曲真的是他非常能够欣赏。我根据我的经验，我们有对完全是外国人的观众，或者一半是外国人的观众演出演讲啊，他们都很能够感受到这种美。
Following in the footsteps of overseas Chinese, Kunqu has put down roots in foreign lands. Kunqu groups can now be found, among other places, in Japan and the United States. Zhang Huixin's group, established in 1995, is an influential one with a sizable audience. Every time Zhang's group performs, there is no